Hello, my name is Tracy Allen and I want to welcome you to Cooking with Some Friends. Hello and welcome to Cooking with Some Friends. I'm getting ready for a club that I'm in. We're having a grab and go lunch tomorrow, and so I have to make a couple of desserts. So I'm going to make a chocolate peanut butter pie, and I'm going to start. I have 25 Oreos that I've crushed up. I'm going to put those in my bowl and add to that 5 tablespoons of butter that I melted. I'm going to stir these together and this will be our crust. The other things you're going to need a cup of peanut butter, an 8-ounce package of softened cream cheese, some powdered sugar, and some whipped cream. So I'll get this mixed together and then I'm going to press it in my pie plate and I'm going to bake this in a 350 degree oven for about 5 to 7 minutes. And then I need to let that cool completely before I make and add my filling. And if you want to, you can reserve just a little bit of it to sprinkle over the top. That's totally up to you. It won't take very much, just a tiny bit more. Keep a hold of it. Okay, so then I just want to press it all around and a little ways up the sides. Go ahead and bake this and then I will show you the filling that goes in it. Okay, earlier we made our Oreo crust by taking 25 Oreos, 5 tablespoons of butter that was melted, the crushed Oreos, and mix those together and put them in our pie plate. Bake that for 5 to 7 minutes, and now we've let it cool completely. Now I'm ready to make the filling that goes in this peanut butter chocolate pie. So I'm going to use 1 cup of creamy peanut butter. And you know it's a good day when you've used every attachment at least once on your big mixer. So I used the dough hook this morning. I made some rolls. I used the beater bar when I made a cake. And now we're using the whisk attachment to make our peanut butter pie. So I have my 1 cup of peanut butter, and to that I'm going to add 8 ounces, 1 brick of cream cheese that is at room temperature, and I'm going to cream these together. Stop that just a minute and scrape down my edges since that cream cheese wants to come up on it. Okay, I also have 1.5 cups of powdered sugar that I'm going to gradually add into the peanut butter mixture. Okay, at this point we have kind of the texture of a cookie dough. I'll show you that real quick. And I still need to mix that down along the edges. Put that back where it belongs. So I'm going to drop this down just to scrape it down. And the last thing that goes in our filling for our peanut butter chocolate pie, I have an 8-ounce container of Cool Whip that I'm going to mix into that as well. Take this out. I want to make sure I mix any extra in that didn't get incorporated well enough off my beater bar. Whisk is really wanting to hold that peanut butter mixture. Pie shell. Now remember, I reserved just a few of those Oreo crumbles, and now is the time I will use those. As soon as I get this spread out, clear to the edges, and make sure I can't get any more of my filling out of my bowl, I will sprinkle those over the top, just to kind of dress it up a little bit. And there you have our chocolate peanut butter pie. We'll put this in the refrigerator for about 4 hours before we try to cut it, and then it will be ready to serve. Good morning and welcome to Cooking with Some Friends. I'm going to put together a recipe that I found a while back. And they're really good, but the recipe that I found would make 2 dozen of these. They're pumpkin cinnamon rolls, and it would make 2 dozen. But I found that it uses half packages of things that go in it, and I don't want to make them again right away, and I don't want to waste the ingredients, so I double the recipe when I make them. So I have 1 cup of warm water, and you don't want hot water, you just want warm, to activate the yeast. And I have a 1/4 cup of yeast. And I'm going to stir that together. And then I'm going to let this sit for just a couple of minutes so that yeast has a chance to activate. And you'll know that it is by, it'll start to get a little bit bubbly. It has a good yeasty smell, but in the meantime, I'm going to tell you a few of the other things that you're going to put in this. Okay. I have 8 eggs that I've let warm up to room temperature. And I went ahead and slightly mixed these eggs so that they would incorporate a little bit easier. I have 2 cups of vegetable shortening, so Crisco, 2 cups of pumpkin, which is a 15-ounce can of pumpkin puree. I have 2 cups of warm whole milk. You need the fat content, so make sure you use whole milk. A cup of sugar, a cup of brown sugar, and then a 3-ounce package of instant butterscotch pudding and a 3-ounce package of instant vanilla pudding. And then I'm going to use a teaspoon of 2 teaspoons of salt. And then it'll take anywhere between 16 and 18 cups of flour. Now remember, I'm doubling because I don't want to waste it. And it'll make 3 to 4 dozen depending on how big I make the rolls. And like I said before, I would rather have a larger batch where I can give them away to family members or neighbors or whatever, and not have to divide packages of things. So anyway, so in my warm water and my yeast combination, I'm going to add my eggs. And then my shortening. Past my beater. I always hate it that I pound on things, but I have a tendency to do it anyway. Okay, there I go again. Okay, and then I'm going to put in my pumpkin, and that would be the 15-ounce can. Just for a second, it'll be easier if I drop that down. I really like regular cinnamon rolls, but making pumpkin cinnamon rolls just adds a little bit of a difference in flavor, and it's kind of pumpkin season, so in the fall that just adds a warmth to the flavors. Okay, then I'm going to add my warm milk, not hot, just warm. My sugars, my brown sugar, my white sugar, pudding mixes, butterscotch pudding, my vanilla pudding, mix those up a little bit, and I'm going to just wait a second before I add my salt. And the reason I'm going to do that, again, it just lets that sugar feed the yeast a little bit before I add the salt in. Once I get my salt in, I'm going to start adding the flour a little at a time, and I have 10 cups measured out because that's what I want to start with, and then I will add in more of that 16 to 18 cups as I need it to make a sticky dough. I added my salt in, and then I've started to beat in my flour mix, or my flour. And remember, this is that 10 cups that I know I'll have to have, and then the others are just to make sure my dough is the right consistency. And you don't want to beat this too quickly because then the flour goes everywhere. But I'm going to continue to add this in, and then we'll see if I need how much more of that other 6 to 8 cups that I need. I have my first 10 cups of flour in here, and as you can see, there's no way I'm going to roll this out yet. So I'm going to slowly add in more flour until it gets to a dough that it'll be a little sticky, but that I can handle it. Then I'm going to put some flour on my countertop and dump this out, the dough, out onto the countertop, and then I need to knead it. And I need to knead it anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. And part of that, you'll just have to feel it, and it will feel elastic, but hold together well. So there's one of my extra cups, because I have a half cup measuring cup that I'm putting it in. So I'll come back when it's the consistency that I need it to pour out onto the counter. Okay, I ended up needing about 3 to 3.5 more cups of flour to make this the consistency that I could actually pour it out onto my floured surface. Then I put another half cup of my flour onto the counter so I can knead this. And I'm going to start the kneading process. But like I told you, it'll take anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes of kneading to get this to the right consistency, elasticity, so that it will rise. Then I'll put this in a well-sprayed bowl, and I'll cover it and let it proof or rise. For about an hour, it'll double in size, so that's what we're looking for. So again, you want to keep kneading, and it's definitely not elastic yet. It tears too easily. So I'm going to keep kneading till it's the right consistency. Okay, so as you can see, my dough has formed a nice ball. And it took about another half cup of that flour, that extra flour that I have. So now I'm ready to drop this into my sprayed bowl. And you want to make sure you have a big enough one that it can double in size. I want to flip it over so that the oiled part is up. Now I'm going to cover this and let it proof. Okay, our dough has doubled in size. As you can see, it's well over the top of the bowl. So I'm going to punch this down. And then I'm going to divide it in about thirds. And I do want to, I've got my silicone mat out, but I'm going to dust that a little bit with some flour to make sure this doesn't stick. I'll take about a third of my dough. And I want to roll this out into a rectangle. When I get that rolled out, I have my brown sugar. I have 2 cups of brown sugar that I'm going to mix my cinnamon into. And I have a tablespoon and a teaspoon of cinnamon. Mix that up well. And once I get this rolled out, I'm going to put melted butter over the top and then sprinkle it with my sugar and cinnamon mixture. I rolled a third of my dough out, and then I put my melted butter and my brown sugar cinnamon mixture on it. Now I'm going to roll these and roll them fairly tightly from one long edge to the other. And that brown sugar mixture should go about 1/2 inch or so from the edges. Up and pinch them together so they don't unroll so easily on me. Okay, now I'm ready to cut these, and I've sprayed my pans, and I'm going to cut these and put about a dozen of them in my pan and then let that rise again. Okay, our rolls are in the oven baking, and they take about 25 minutes roughly in the oven at 350 to bake until they're done. And it made roughly 4 dozen rolls because I had doubled the recipe. But now I'm going to make the icing, and you want to ice these while they're warm, not hot, but warm. And so in my bowl, I'm going to make a cream cheese icing to go over this because I love pumpkin and cream cheese combination. So I have 4 ounces of cream cheese and 4 tablespoons of softened butter, and I'm going to cream those together. And then to that, I'm going to add a tablespoon of water, a tablespoon of vanilla, and 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. Okay. I'm going to cream that together, and then I'm going to start adding my powdered sugar. I have 4 cups of powdered sugar, and we just want to make it a spreadable consistency. So I'm going to start adding that a little at a time. Even though you want this spreadable, you do want it fairly thick because remember we're putting them on the warm rolls, and that cream cheese and butter mixture will melt down some, so you don't want this to be super runny. Mixed in so I can increase my speed on my mixer. So I have my icing for when my rolls are just warm, not hot. If you're not going to use or serve all the rolls right away, you do have the option, if you want to warm them up, not to ice them right away. And that way, like if you take them to family or friends, you may not want to ice them. Just give them some of the icing with directions to warm it and then to ice them. Okay, so you can see it's a pretty thick consistency. Okay, when they're done and cooled slightly, I will show you the finished product. Thanks for joining us for this session of Cooking with Some Friends. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And find us on Facebook at Cooking with Some Friends.